Hello guys, and today we are doing What If Deku Had Greninjas Powers? Part 4. We're going to start off right after All For One was defeated. So, Nezu the very next day puts an issue to put in UA a dorm system. And he sends all the teachers to the parents to get permission to put their kids in the dorms. Everything goes normal. But when we're gonna skip all the way from all those other kids to Sue. No Mama Midoriya scene, so no All Might on his knees. And Deku and Sue need permission to go to the dorm, so Aizawa knocks on the door of the Asui household. And Mr. Frogman opens the door. He says, "Hello," and Aizawa says, "UA here." And he lets him in, and they sit down and talk. And Aizawa tells them how good Izuku and Tsuyu have been doing in UA. And he asks them permission to put them in the dorm system with all the issues happening lately. Nezu thought, even before this, he thought that they should have dorms, but now it's even more set in stone that they will. So he gets the A-OK from Papa Frog, and that all happens. So when time skip all the way to when they get into the dorms, they do the fashion show. And I just realized. Sorry about that, guys. I forgot that the dorms are still after AFO. So Bakugou tells Izuku to meet him outside in 10 minutes. And 10 minutes later, Izuku comes outside, and he goes down the street, and then he sees Bakugou. And Bakugou tells him how Deku should be super weak compared to him. And he starts degrading Deku, and then he says, "How are you better than me, though? How did you beat me in the sports festival?" And Deku's just like, he's taking this all in slowly, because Bakugou is still the Boom Boom Boy. And then Bakugou says, "Let's fight here one-on-one to see who can win." And then Deku persists that they shouldn't fight. And Baku then launches himself towards Deku with a big explosion. And then he goes up to Deku's face and point-blank explosions him in the face. And Deku goes flying and hits a building. And Deku gets up and pulls out a big shuriken like, "I'll make this quick." And then he throws shuriken after shuriken at Bakugou. And Bakugou, he's dodging and weaving out of the shurikens. But when Deku shouts, "Shuriken Starfall," and then he throws all the shurikens up in the air. And Bakugou has prepared for this, so he shoots one massive explosion up, just like he did in Canon against Uraka. And he goes to explode them, but he sees that they all moved out of the way, and he sees Deku moving his hands with all of them. And he then realizes that Deku can control the shurikens when they're in midair. So then they all come down and start hitting Bakugou. And Bakugou gets cuts, and lots of cuts, on his arms and his legs, and one on his neck. But then all the water that hit the ground from the shurikens then all rises up into the air to make one massive shuriken. And Bakugou's like, "How's their impact?" And then he fires up and then launches himself like a torpedo at the ninja star with one massive explosion. And he gets face to face with the ninja star and shoots his massive explosion at it. But the shuriken, as he he still forgot that Deku can move the shuriken, so it dodged the explosion completely, and it ended up behind him. And when Bakugou turns around and he starts falling, the shuriken hits him in the chest, and that knocks him out. And then Deku catches him with his tongue. And that's the end of that fight. Next, we have the Provisional License Arc. The one with Kami and everyone else. Shiketsu. So, they arrive at the Provisional Licensing exam, and Deku and Sue meet the air guy. I don't know his name. The guy with the hands, and Kami, aka Toga. Actually, yeah, they already knew that. Okay, guys, I'm back, and I just learned that the two other students I could not name is actually Inasa and Seiji. So it's Seiji, Inasa, and Kami from Shiketsu. Okay, so let's start in the first round of the Provisional Hero Licensing exam. So the announcer does his thing and makes the round start. And as the same happens, Class 1A is split up and targeted for being the top school, the top dogs. And Deku separates from his team. But then he meets Kami, who approaches him behind some boulders. You know, I don't know if I should talk about this scene, because it gets a little frisky, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, so we're going to skip that scene entirely because adult content. And we go to what's his name? Seiji versus Bakugou, Hiroshima, and Denki. Kaminari. So, he gets Bakugou at the start as always. I mean Hiroshima. And he moisturizes him with his hand powers. Don't take that out of context, YouTube. And he makes him a little munchkin. And Bakugou then goes to start attacking him. And he hits him once, and some guys become unraveled. And then Bakugou gets Eureka, per se. And he gets moisturized by the hands. Don't take that out of context, YouTube. And then Denki catches Seiji off guard eventually and knocks him out and then gets the points. Never mind that, guys. So Yuga Aoyama, he does his little thing, and everyone does their big attack combo, and all Class 1A gets into the second part of the exam. Okay, guys, so the second part of the exam would be the thingamajig, the saving people. So, everyone, that goes the same, I would say, except Deku goes with Tsuyu, and they both still pass. So, for the third part of the exam, which would be fighting Gang Orca, Tsuyu and Deku go in at first, because they know they can do a tag team on Gang Orca. So, Deku throws Tsuyu at Gang Orca, but he uses his quirk, the Sharky Boy quirk, and basically screams her away. And then Deku does his Shuriken Starfall, and all the Shurikens go up, and then they fall down. Gang Orca tries using his quirk on them, but it only puts them higher up in the air for higher velocity. So, they start actually hitting him. And then when they all come back up for the final shuriken, Gang Orca unleashes a massive scream with his quirk. And it sends the shuriken out of the atmosphere, but then it starts falling. And when it gets to Gang Orca, it's one massive slash on his forehead. And it knocks him out. So the heroes actually win that in this one. And same thing within the anime, Inasa and Todoroki, they do their little skit where Todoroki sends his flames and Inasa sends his wind, and it gets blown out by each other. And they start arguing, and then they get hit. So next is the Overhaul Arc. So next internship arc also. Let's say Deku and Tsuyu go to the same one as each other. So they both go to the Dragon Lady. I believe the number 8 hero. So Night Eye and Mirio Mirio is going on a patrol right now. And he finds a little girl named Eri and running away from Overhaul. And he does what Deku does, why are you running away? And she just holds on to his knee. And then Overhaul emerges. And then it's like, sorry about my daughter. And then they soon find out he's the leader of the the Chiazaikai. And then Night Eye eventually gets the raid repaired, and Tsuyu and Deku hear about it through the hero they're interning under the Dragon Girl, and they go in the raid. So they fight that stamina draining guy, and Ochako is also here. So they fight the stamina draining guy, but when he gets Tsuyu and Ochako down, Deku comes in from the back and starts hitting him with tons of shurikens. And he goes Ash Greninja mode, actually, because he doesn't like seeing his best friend Ochako and his best friend / sister Tsuyu. So he goes all rage mode and uses one massive shuriken. He uses 2 of the massive shurikens we see in the Shuriken Starfall. He uses 2 massive ones, and he throws them at him. But the dual blades from Monster Hunter, he does that combo. He swipes down, and then he goes ham on him. And that hurts him a lot. And then they see a hole appear in the ground, and then see another Deku, Toga, urging them to come over to the hole and say, the villains are in there. And Deku, being confused, I'm right here, though. And then Toga is embarrassed, oh, I didn't know that. And then Deku throws a shuriken at her, because he's still in Ash Greninja mode, and this gets the body swap, the transformation off of Toga, and she runs away. So after that, Overhaul comes out of the ground, and Mirio is there, because he's not out of the fight yet. Let's say the Quirk Erasing Bullet thing doesn't happen yet, but Overhaul emerges from the ground, and Mirio comes out with Eri on his back, and then he fires the Quirk Erasing Bullet at him. And Mirio tries to move to the side. Instead, his arm is hit, and he quickly slashes his hand off because it hit him straight in the middle of the hand. And now he's missing an arm, but Eri, since her quirk is running rampant, it revives his quirk. Well, what do I mean his quirk? I mean his hand. And he gets back up. And Overhaul is right there waiting for them. And that's where we'll be leaving it off, guys. That's the end to part 4. Bye.
It's blue like the Atlantic, and I'm going down like the Titan.